All right, we are back. And it should be working now. At least on my test, it worked perfectly fine. I did some research. Apparently, this had something to do with the. I guess, what do you call it? Let me see what is it called here. With the sample rate of my audio. So at default, it's set to 48,000. So I had to set it to 44,100 or something like that. So perfect. We are then ready to go, I think. So this is the part 2 to the part 1 stream that I did 2 days ago. So I'm just gonna continue on the project that I started, and we have a really interesting scene going on here, and I have zero clue how it's gonna look at the end, but let's see where we can get. I'm now just trying to see if everything here in my program is fine, because it seems to be lagging a little bit. Let me send the scene back here. You won't be seeing it yet. I need to change the scene, but the audio is perfect now. Perfect. Thank you for the patience. And now that I have this whole intermission thing here, I will try to remember to take a bit of breaks in between to look at the chat more often. I also have watched now a lot of tutorials on how to host a stream technically. As you can see, the audio was perfect the first time. No, but really, I watched a lot of tutorials, and I will slowly try to get better and better with streaming. So I guess I'm just gonna start editing here if there aren't any initial questions from you. And yeah, we'll see. I'm also gonna show my Photoshop workflow within this live. And if you have any questions about my 3D workflow, feel free to ask that as well, and I will answer any questions. So I'm gonna change the scene to my program, and let me know if something gets messed up along the way. So now we are in Cinema 4D, and this is the scene that we are working with. Hello Israel, how are you doing? So this is the scene we're working with. It's an island scene with this dock leading to the island. And I was left off 2 days ago with these pillars, and I want to position them here and then maybe add some sort of railing, maybe some rope or something here. So let's try to figure this out first. Unfortunately, last time I tried to use the cloner and didn't work out. So I think we have to one by one place these logs there, but this is not really the biggest issue in the world. So I'm just going to duplicate this and remove the original cloner I had. If you have any questions about the scene, by the way, right now, let me know. If you haven't watched the first stream, it might be confusing to jump into it right now. But I am going to come here to my main camera view. And let's zoom this camera in a little bit here so we can get a good starting point for that. Okay, so I think first we need a bit more of these planks here, because some of them seem to be like there's too big of a gap in between some of these. So let's try like 65 or maybe even 70. Something like that should be fine. And I want to try to figure out how I can adjust this in a way that they don't go on top of each other. Because right now some of these are going on top of each other, and I really do not like that look at all. So I think what we can do is change the way how our spline works, and then we can try to see. I think even that fixed it already. So we make the angle 0 and the length, let's see. subdivided is the thing that should do the trick. And B-spline creates like a smoother transition between the points of the spline. So that should be fixed now. I also had some issues with the textures last time. And off stream I will most likely focus more on the materials then. But I think first thing I want to do is adjust my light inside here. So let me come here. It's always a bit hard to go inside of buildings in Cinema 4D and try to adjust something there. Barely making it here. Okay, so that's where our light is. I think I need to make it visible for a while. And we have a sphere light, and I just want to move this sphere light more like here. And maybe I will make it also visible. So I can change if the light source is actually visible in my scene or not. And last time I turned it off, but I think I will now put it back on. So now you can see it appeared here. If I take the general visibility down, then it's not as strong. And all I want is that we get a nice sort of strong highlight source somewhere here in the window. And I think I also wanted to change the sky. I wasn't happy with the sky, and I tried to already last time find the sky multiple times, but I did not find a good one yet. So let's go to my content browser here. And content browser is basically just your own library of the assets that you have, and you can say whatever you want here. I have manually sort of imported all of these different things into Cinema 4D. And I have also bought a lot of different assets. And this has definitely sped up my workflow already quite a bit. Let's try this one. I think this is a bit too blue. I was also thinking of putting like an overcast sky there, but then I sort of lose all the color. And oftentimes these skies don't really look that good. This is sort of our only option then from these type of skies. I think there is a plugin called HDRI, something HDRI look or whatever it's called, where you can quickly toggle between different HDRIs in your scene. And it could be that I will also just add a sky afterwards, but we'll see. I will quickly try to find like one good one, and then I will let this be, because I already spent last time quite a long time going through some of these guys. Maybe we'll actually go here to the alien skies and choose one from here. I'm just gonna go with this one now and leave it, and then change it afterwards if I need to. This has a really strong light source here. Oh, I actually added it to the wrong thing. That's why it looks so weird. Actually, I'm going to delete the whole sky now and create a new one. I was so confused what was happening there. This is literally me 90% of the time when I'm in Cinema 4D still. I just get overly confused about everything that happens. Okay, there we go. Now we have like a starting point here. Let me turn my volume off. Volume is basically the fog. So now by rotating this, I should be able to get some interesting results. And I can decrease the gamma of the sky. And also the power of the sky. And now we have a good starting point here for the sky. All right. So let's now place manually all of these logs here, and then see how we could create those ropes. So first off, we place this one somewhere here. And then we just keep on duplicating this as many times as we need. Let's actually put it here. So then by holding Control, I can duplicate. So I'm just dragging another one in here. And I think having this amount of logs in between is okay. So I'm just gonna keep on doing this. Maybe I can now also just duplicate like multiple ones at the same time. A bit more in between there. And then I think I can do this one more time like that. And then I might need to manually adjust some of these. So for example, this one needs to be more in, this one needs to be more out. And this one definitely more out as well. It's something like this. And then we're going to do the exact same on the other side. So I just need to hold Control and duplicate all of these things there. And it did increase our polygons quite a bit, but I didn't find a better solution to do this. So unfortunately, I needed to do it like this. And I know I said already a few times, but please feel free to ask questions while I am editing if there's anything that sort of raises questions in your brain. Hey man, just wanted to let you know I love your work over Instagram. Thank you, Raj. And then Extreme said, you are my inspiration. Sure, thank you. So, I think that's okay. Why is my neck so painful? Probably because I've been on the computer the whole day. So, let's create those ropes here. And I think the best way to do this would be to just sort of draw splines here. But I'm going to open Bridge. And Bridge is a massive library of assets that you can use. And I have a subscription for Bridge. And I can basically download whatever I want from here. So I'm just gonna see if there's some sort of fence assets that I could use. Let's see if there's like a rope. They do have rope materials. But I think these are only materials. But I mean, even those materials would be sort of good enough if we create those things. So, okay. So here we don't have anything that we could use. And I'm not going to go online and keep on searching. So what I will do, I will create it manually. So first off, I'm going to group all of these by holding Alt-G or clicking Alt-G on my keyboard. And I'm going to name this logs. And I think I could technically combine all of these. So connect objects, and it creates. This is sort of like clicking Control E in Photoshop. I'm just connecting all the assets into one. But I'm gonna keep these original ones. But I'm gonna group these and turn this off, and then name this log separate. So this way I can have it here if I need it. And the only reason why I did it like this is because there's quite a few polygons now in these. So if I hit the polygon tool here, or the polygon what do you call this? If I hold over, well, just it shows the polygons. You can see that these have like unnecessary amount of detail, or like unnecessarily much detail, and I just don't need that much. So I will try if this polygon reduction will work. So there is, where is it here? Polygon reduction thing here. If I put this in there, I should be able to reduce the amount of polygons. So I think now if I make this into an object, why did it bring 2 in there? So if I turn this, connect objects and delete, there we go. So now we have way less geometry on these, which is perfect because we didn't need as much as we had. And another way to decrease polygons, I could maybe take the level of detail still off from these as well. But I'm gonna maybe do that at some point, not now. So now I'm gonna go to the side view. There's this viewport thing here where I can select perspective, top, right, and front. And I would just select from right. And actually, it could be this is wrong, so we might need to go to front view. Okay, so front view is the right. I'm sort of confused sometimes with how this works, but it should work. How can I move around here? I guess I can't. So let's draw this now. So with this spline tool, the sketch tool, I can create sort of those ropes here. And then after I've done that, I can smoothen it a bit and then make it into something that looks actually like a rope. So I'm gonna start drawing here. Maybe I should enable snapping and enable polygon snapping. So let's start drawing. Actually, a drawing tablet would be a million times better on this. I'm gonna turn my scatters off and my grass scatters off, so I only have this. So let's now see like that, like this, and there we go. Now we're getting some ropes. Okay, let's smoothen this a bit with the spline smooth tool. And I don't want to make it super strong. I just want to smoothen it a tiny bit. I think that's enough. Maybe here we should smoothen a bit more. Something like that. Okay, then let's go away from this view. And you can see now here that we have the spline. If I go to the side, you can see that it's nicely going across here. It's not perfect, but it doesn't really need to be perfect. So let's bring this now to the right first. I guess our only issue here would be that it doesn't go perfectly along some of these. And if anyone knows a better way to do this, let me know. Hi, Michelle. Michelle is not actually home. I don't even know, where are you now? Let's see. There's too many points here. So maybe I smoothen it a little bit more. I think that should be it. And now I can manually move these around. So Let's actually go to the spline and set this to subdivided and then B-spline. So B-spline helps us to make the points, or like the spaces between the points, more soft. I think this point we don't need, so I'm just gonna delete this point. And then I'm gonna select this point and connect it here. Let me turn the snapping off as well. Okay, so there we have our first rope. Guess I need to adjust this manually. Someone who's really experienced in 3D is probably watching this right now and it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it so complicated? Well, because I don't know a better way yet. So this is the way I'm doing it. Could be that I'm experiencing some internet issues right now because I got a notification that my internet is not strong enough to hold the stream. So let's hope it doesn't make the stream quality really bad. Sometimes the internet here in Germany is not the best. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Slow but surely. Battery on your camera is dead. Yeah, I didn't buy a dummy battery yet, and I don't actually think the battery is dead. Actually, it is dead, as you can see there. That actually ran out really, really quick. I need to figure out a solution for this as fast as possible. And the audio is distorted because right now the stream quality got a bit worse because of my internet connection. I'm sorry if the quality is not the best. I'm learning as I do this, so. Right now you should see me again at least. There we go. I tried to research some dummy batteries yesterday, but then I read some like reviews that some people had fried their cameras by using dummy batteries, and that sort of threw me off, and I didn't do enough research to actually confirm if that's something that happens to people that often. But I read at least 3 stories that people had fried their R5s, which is the camera I'm using, by using a dummy battery. So I didn't really have the sort of courage to get a dummy battery before I actually know if it's safe or not. And dummy battery, for the people who don't know what those are, they're basically just batteries that give you a constant power to your camera. Okay, there we go. Now we have these things here, and we should be able to create our rope. It says here, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. So how is it right now? Is it really, really bad? I need to fix the internet issue as well. But yeah, now if I want to make these into ropes, all I need to do is create a sweep. And with the sweep, I can create a geometry on a spline. So I need to select a circle from here and put this also inside the sweep. And at first it will look horrible, but when I bring the radius down, you can see that we're getting the rope here. So that should work. Let me actually hear myself now, how the audio is. So that is really, really bad. Does anyone now it says stream is healthy again, but then it now again said YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Is this because of my bitrate on the stream? I have a 20 megabyte upload speed here, and my bitrate is set to 4800. I'm also gonna write it here. So those are the settings I currently have. But it's saying that my stream quality is poor, which is not nice. But now that we have these here, let me import the rope texture. And 2K resolution is more than enough for this. There we go. And then we can just add this to the sweep. Let's go closer to it. At first it doesn't really look that good. But increasing the tiling should fix this. So definitely not like that. Let's see if I make it 20, even 30. And this to 20. Let's do 10. Okay. There we go. Now we have some rope. That was not too hard to create. And it's a pretty small detail, but it makes all the difference. So now we have it there. I most likely need to adjust the spline still. Let's see if I make it not cubic. Linear looks horrible. Let's keep it at B-spline because that's now what seemed to work well here. Okay, we'll just keep it like that. And then we will duplicate this sweep. So this is rope right. I'm going to duplicate this. And it's still saying that it's poor quality. That's really, really annoying. And this is rope left. And let's move this rope here. And it fits almost perfectly there, which is surprising. Maybe we need to do just some like small adjustments here to the points, and then that's it. Well, that's good. There we go. Now we have a bridge that is leading to this cottage. And I think the next step here would be to... Maybe I want to increase even the light power. Yeah, definitely want to increase that. And maybe also while I'm doing that, I want to make it more orange. So this is basically how it is now. We have a tiny island in the middle of nowhere with 2 mountains on the back. And these trees back here look horrible, but since they're in the distance, it doesn't really matter. And now if I go back to my main camera, you can see that we have a path which is leading to the island, and I don't really like the material, how saturated it is, and I also don't like how we don't have like any flowers or any like higher plants there, so I might add some bushes there. And I think the easiest way to do that is to download some assets from Bridge. And I also want to increase the size of my sun. So this is really cool. So in 3D, when you have really strong shadows, the shadows work the exact same way in 3D as in real life. So the bigger the light source, the softer the shadow, and the smaller the light source, the stronger the shadow. So if I go to my daylight here, and I increase the size of my sun, you can see that these shadows soften out. And in my opinion, that is pretty cool. So I'm definitely going to increase the size of my sun a little here. And maybe I also need to change the position of my sun. So if I go now here, I should rotate the sun a little bit. And I often do not follow the position of the sun in the sky itself. I like to set the light sort of separately. And I can also change the color of the sun. I'm probably going to change the color a little bit. I don't want it to be so orange. Something like that. And then we're going to go to our grass texture. Actually, let me double click on all of these because I hate how I can't preview them. This is some sort of a bug in Cinema 4D that I really do not understand. I hate it. So if you're working in Cinema 4D and this sometimes happens, just remember that you can double click on the materials here and then it shows the preview for you again. Now I need to check quickly if the audio is still bad on the stream because it really bothers me. Yeah, it's still horrible. Like, I'm not wondering at all if like 110% of the people leave because of that, but I don't really know how to fix it now, and I don't want to start a stream again. I do believe this is just a problem with the bitrate. No, it says the stream health is excellent. Let me actually read quickly. I'm gonna put this to the audio is not proper. Yeah, I know the audio is really bad. I'm trying to fix that. So people are saying just that make sure that you don't have any filters. I don't. Try a different XLR cable, tried that, didn't work. Revert to an earlier version of OBS that I didn't do yet. It says here that a lot of people with higher end microphones are having problems with OBS in 2021. The issues with OBS interfacing with your camera. So some people are saying that it is because it's somehow like getting messed up because of my camera. Could that be the reason? If I deactivate my camera for a while, does the audio get better? Let me hear myself. If I deactivate my camera for a while. No, it seems to be fine again. And then if I put my camera on, does it now get completely weird again? No, it seems to be fine again. And then if I put my camera on, does it now get completely weird again? The audio is better now. My brother said that I should check if my microphone frequency is the same in Windows as in OBS. I really think this is just a buffering issue. It's an internet problem. But let me check. If I go here, recording, and then go to properties. So this is set to 48,000. But this is not the same as it is in OBS. So in OBS I had to set it to 44 or whatever. It's 44,000. 44.1 kilohertz, yeah. So here it's 48 kilohertz. So I don't really know if that's the issue. But people are saying that the audio is now better, so I am going to just continue because that's good news. Yeah, but either way, moving forward when I stream, I really want the quality to be better. So I need to figure out some sort of bulletproof techniques that help me. So let's go back here. It was internet problem, I think, yeah. I know that I could upgrade my internet connection to 40 megabytes per second on the upload side, but 20 megabyte upload should be enough. I can actually run a speed test from my Stream Deck. So if I just click here on the internet, it says running speed test. Let me actually test what the speed is now. Okay, Jonas, I will try to match the frequencies as well. So now my Stream Deck is saying running speed test. Let's see what speeds I am getting. The internet should be really, really good. So I'm getting 242 megabyte download, which is really good. And upload is for some reason now only 11 megabytes. So I think I should maybe decrease the bit rate. That could probably help. What do you guys think? Should I put a lower bit rate on the stream next time? Because I didn't really understand it. You can somehow calculate it. That, for example, if you put 4,000 as the bit rate, you want to have at least, I don't remember the percentage, but if you have 4,000, you should at least have like 5 or 6 megabyte upload. And I guess if the upload gets worse at some point, then it can mess it up. I haven't really done any like research on that, so I don't know enough. But good. Can you want to send me an image of the print? Actually, everything is fine right now. Okay, so I will continue. Editing is more important than worrying about the stream either way. So, let's see. The way how I set these planks up is quite interesting. I have 3 different planks. And then these just get distributed differently on my spline, my cloner. Something like that works. And let me actually scale all of these a bit up. I think I have to do it separately. I think that helps to bring in like a bit more, some cracks in there and so on. So something like that. All right. Hi, how are you doing? Okay, let's move now to the grass material. So the grass is way too green. So I want to figure out which material is applied to the grass. So let's go here to grass scatters, and then here in the vegetation we can see that the grass is way too green. You doing this for Photoshop? What have you learned, by the way? I don't understand your question. I am just editing now in 3D, and I will bring this to Photoshop later to edit it there separately. But this is where I'm creating the main look. I'm adding color correction nodes here in between, because these let me... Why isn't it? I'm trying to add it to the wrong part. So I need to add it here. Color correction there, and then color correction here. And now by playing with the hue, I can change the color of the grass. And here I should have this plugged into transmission. So if I increase the exposure of this, I should get some better transmission. There we go. Now the grass is not so green anymore. Maybe we should also take saturation down a bit. Actually, isn't this the material? Yeah, it's this one. So I guess I was editing the wrong. Yeah, there we go. So now we can change things. I think Michelle came home now. We want Photoshop tutorials. I have moved to 3D, so there's not going to be a lot of Photoshop tutorials. I think that's all right. I'm actually trying to just see now what would be the next step here. I think adding those plants. I'm gonna go to bridge, and then I'm going to go to the 3D plants. And let's see, I think ferns is what I'm looking for, and these type of common ferns are pretty cool. I could also do bracken ferns, but I think I'm gonna go with these. And 2K resolution again is fine, so I'm gonna download these. And let's export these to cinema. So now we have 3 different variations. I'm gonna move these to my assets, which are besides here. So I keep my assets separate from my scene, so I can then just come back here and adjust any sizes or whatever I need to change. So I'm gonna keep those there. And I'm gonna create a new scatter. And let's put these inside the scatter. I'm gonna choose my plane for the scatter to be the dirt, and then this on the surface. So what basically this means is that the things that are now inside, the plants that are inside the scatter, are now scattered or distributed on the surface that I decided, which is the dirt. And now here, if I increase the amount, you can see that we're getting these ferns everywhere on our island. But I definitely do not want them to be everywhere. I'm gonna add a random effector here. And random effector basically means that it will spin my plants on a 360-degree axis randomly. So I'm gonna go to my randomizers and then random grass. And I'm just gonna add this grass randomizer here. So now my ferns are spinning correctly. I'm also gonna increase the size of these ferns, because ferns are actually quite big. I mean, I guess it depends on the fern, sure. But I'm gonna create a bit of like size variation on these. And then by creating sort of a layer mask in Cinema 4D, it's called a vertex map, I can distribute this better. So let me deselect all of these. And then create another selection. And I want to distribute these to the positions where these trees are. So in here on my view, you can see that these sticks represent my trees on the render view. So I'm just gonna add points to here where the trees are. This way I can blend the trunks of the trees a bit better into the grass and the ground. At least I think so. So let's see if this works in theory. I'm also going to add a bit of ferns here to the side of the house to blend the house in there as well a little bit more. And all I need to do now is go to select and then set vertex weight. I put the value to 100% and this creates a map for me. And I can put this map into the distribution of the scatter. And now you can see that those areas that I selected are the only areas where those ferns are visible. Simple as that. I mean, of course, it can sound super complicated if you never use Cinema 4D, but that's sort of like using layer masks in Photoshop. It's a bit more complicated, but yeah, that's how it works in Cinema. So now we have some ferns growing. Maybe I want the amount to be even less. So let's say if I put to like 500, then we only get a few ferns there. Maybe 1,000 is good. And I definitely need to change the material up a little bit. So let me arrange these. And then here in the translucency, I want to bring the power to like 3 and the gamma down. So I get some like true translucency in there. Something like that. Okay, so now from further away, you can see that those ferns are creating some variety there, but I do think that the ferns are a bit too dark. So I'm gonna decrease the gamma here to the point where they sort of match with the something like this. And I might also want a bit of flowers there. A bit of flowers. So for this, I think I can use some of the plants I have here. I think we can use these. So white everlasting, this is a good flower to use here, but there's way too much variation. We don't need this much variation, so I will just delete some of them. Then I'm going to put them inside a scatter. Let's also move them around. Let's move these scatters here. And I'm just going to put them side by side. I think actually that is enough variation. Let's again select the distribution to be the dirt. Surface. And I think now we are getting already some. They're distributing completely wrong though, so I'm gonna go to my scatter, effectors, and then I'm gonna put my plain grass and grass randomizer in there. And this way, I think we are able to only have some flowers here on the island. I actually think 1,000 is a good amount for this little island. I'm most likely going to go to my live database here and take my oak leaf texture. And this will be plugged into these. So let's plug these now in. So it's going to be texture 1, texture 2, texture 1, and texture 2. And now that those are plugged in, I can apply this oak leaf texture to my trees. So let's find my trees quickly. Tree scatters, pine tree, actually the maple tree. So I want to replace that with this material, because this material is it looks horrible at first, but what this material can do is pretty interesting, because with this dirt node here, I can adjust the amount of greens that I have in my scene. So let's look at this a bit closer. Maybe from the side where the sun is shining on them. So from here. So now you can see that some of the leaves are a bit orange and some of the leaves are a bit green. So with this material, when I increase the radius here, I can make the trees more green, or if I decrease it, you can see that the trees become more yellow. So I'm gonna just choose something in between. Something like that. And that works fine for me now. And I think I want some like smaller twigs and stuff like that there as well. So let me see if I can actually find some like dead trees maybe. Or these thin branches. Maybe these thin branches will do. So again, it gave me a bunch of different branches. I'm just going to put these away. I'll move them further away. So there. And then I'm gonna rotate these. So I want these to be scattered this way naturally. And then there's a bunch of variation again. So I'm going to, actually the way how I'm going to do this is that I will just rotate these a little bit. And then I will like put these to grow from the same point. I will connect these so then I have sort of multiple different branches growing from one. So I think something like that. Okay, so that's the first one. And then I don't need these last two. Hi Leonie, how are you doing? So these moves now here. Okay, so now I have sort of like this, what is this one? It's just part of it. So now I have this like sort of, what would you call that? This like bush of dead trees connected to each other. And I can now connect these, and now this is actually only one layer. And I can create one more scatter. These, I believe these were flowers, and these were our ferns. And let's put these inside our grass scatters. And then these will be in my tree scatters. And I will duplicate I will create a completely new scatter. And these will be scattered in there. And again, the surface will be dirt. And I'll select the surface from there. And now if I go to the island here, are we getting yet? I guess we're not getting anything yet because I need to scale this up a lot. So let's scale these things up. Okay, so there you go. So now you can see them actually to start growing more. But I believe they are growing a bit funnily. Maybe I need to go to the scatter and decrease the position a bit so they get scattered properly. Okay, something like that. And I don't need this many, as I said, so I'm going to decrease the count, but before that I'm gonna add a randomizer. So let's go to our randomizers and to the scatter effector, and then let's add a grass randomizer here. So now they spin naturally. And I only want like max like maybe 150 of these distributed here. Just a bit of variety on the island. Something like that. Or is that too much? I actually need to do the plain trees as well here. I think that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So now we will look at the scene from here. You can see that we have trees. The fog is going to change it all. So when I turn the fog on, our scene is going to change quite a bit. And I don't really like how my material on the bridge is looking, but I guess I can't really change that up a lot. This light also looks horrible right now. It's too strong. So let me go to the Octane light and decrease the power. Let me go to my fog volume and I want to see actually how my fog volume looks from above. I think our fog volume is way too small. So let me increase our fog volume size. And when I increase the size, I also need to increase the voxel size. So I increase this to like 600. That should actually be a bit better. So now when I look through my camera, I'm getting a bit more interesting results here. But now we also lost the visibility to our mountains completely, and the fog is too strong. So I'm going to decrease the density of my fog. And I also don't want the fog to be visible like everywhere. So what I can do for the fog is to go to texture and add a noise shader here. And I can scale this up. Let's do like 5,000. And then let's do turbulence. When I increase my contrast, then we can see that we get these holes into our noise. You can especially see this when you look at it from the side. I think we have to increase our high clip a bit here. So now here you can see that some like holes are starting to form on the noise. And this gives it a bit more of a natural feeling. So something like that. I think to make the scale of our scene a little bit better, I will go to my hut. Where is my hut? There it is. And I'm gonna scale the hut down a little bit. Because this is a quite small hut. At least I want to make it quite small. And let me push it a bit more forward. And then down. Our flowers are way too big. So let's go to our grass scatters, flowers, and let's scale these down. I don't want them to be as big as they are. Something like that. It's a bit better. And then I can... This looks pretty bad here on the right, so I need to adjust this spline. Something like that. Okay. Also, our bridge is maybe a bit unnecessarily bendy. And I think this we can fix by, I guess, coming to the spline here and then just selecting a bunch of these points and bring, yeah. But if I do that, then everything gets a bit like transformed to that direction. I think at this point it's a bit too destructive. Yeah. I'll just change the camera angle a bit. So this should like fix it a little bit. Let me actually at this point play around with my camera settings a bit. Also my HUD is now weird. I need to rotate it. So it's straight and then more towards the right. And I want to add maybe a few more trees. So let's go here to tree scatters, and I want a few more pine trees. So let's do like 15. I guess before I do that, I need to go to the vertex map here. And adjust it here. So I want one tree there, like some trees there. And I also want some here and here. Why isn't it working? I guess because I really just need to increase the amount to like 20. Then play around with the seed. That I like, so I'm gonna keep that. But for some reason, from like my eyes, the HUD just looks weird. Maybe if I make it a bit higher, not overly high though. Something like that. Okay, so what is the next step here? I believe the next step is fixing those low poly trees far, far away. So scale these down. How did I do it the last time? Okay. And then I will enable my bloom and I'll increase the bloom. This changes often quite a lot of things in terms of lighting. And I like to add a bit like overly much. And then adjust it in Photoshop afterwards because that is possible. And maybe in this case also a little glare wouldn't hurt from the HUD. Okay. And now that I have this, I'm going to try a complete different approach for the lighting. So instead of lighting it from the back, I want to try to light it from the front. So let's grab our daylight and rotate this daylight around so we're lighting it up from behind. I think that definitely did not work out like I wanted it to. So let's see. So I want to, why isn't it rotating? There we go. So I want to light this from the side. That gives a bit nicer of a feeling in my opinion for the piece. Yes, there we go. That's more interesting. Like a backlighted scene. It's way too orange though, so I want to fix that. I think I can fix that by bringing my sun color to be less orange. Yeah. And also now I need to rotate my sky around. Yes, there we go. Now the scene in my eyes is at least like becoming a bit more interesting. Just because we changed the lighting around. And I can now also, because I did that, I can increase the scattering and the density of the fog. And on top of that, I can also increase the intensity of the sun. Something like this. The light is not really reflecting nicely on like this part. This could be because, let me actually see what material have I applied to these planks. So if I go here to my cloner, I have applied, yeah, so it's this texture that is on all of them. So what if I would increase the gamma of this? Yes, that is what I will do, but definitely not as strongly as I did there. And then let's try a bit brighter still. I think that's as far as I want to push it. But then I also need to do the same for the logs here. And I guess I would do that by just selecting the material. Is it this one? No. It is this. Yes. So by adjusting the saturation of this and the gamma of this, I can get some better results. There we go. So now that's a bit more balanced and it's not so orange. What I want to do here is to, I guess I can't do it anymore. So I do need to go to the logs. No, to the planks. Has it started already? I guess she didn't hear me. We want to watch the Eurovision with Michelle. Because Finland is there this year in the finals. Alright, now I need to play around with the Any questions from anyone at this point? There's not really almost anyone watching this, mainly because the quality of the stream was quite bad at some points. But I mean, I either way wanted to finish this, so that's completely fine. Okay, so that explains quite a lot why it looks a bit weird still. it would be darker. It would definitely be darker. So I am going to bring my daylight a bit more down. That's also interesting. What if we wouldn't have almost any sunlight at all? And then just that bright light from the hut lighting up the surroundings there. That could work. But I think having a tiny bit of light left there could work as well. Okay, we are getting soon to the point where we can move to Photoshop. I just want to still play around with the background a little bit because the background does not look the best right now. And also maybe with these planks I'll play around a little bit still, but let's go here to the tree scatters, low poly, and I think this is the reason why everything is looking so weird. Yes, that's it. Okay, that looks more natural. I'm actually gonna quickly pee. So if you have any questions, please write them down now in the chat. I will answer them when I'm back. Alright, I am back. So it seems there's no questions, so let's just continue with the edit. So far I'm really pleased with how it looks. Maybe some of the parts could be a bit more optimized here still. So let's keep on working. I think I want some rocks. Definitely I want some rocks in the water. So I'm going to manually probably place some rocks there. And also the grass is way too bright here. So now that the background trees look okay, I want to go to grass scatters. And I want to figure out which, it's not the lilies, it's the thatching grass material that is now, I wouldn't say it's an issue, but it's way too bright. The translucency of this material is too high, and we can change that by bringing the brightness down here. And then just darkening it, I guess. So let's bring the exposure of both of these down a bit. And that already fixed it quite well. Let's play around with the camera settings. So I want to maybe increase the millimeters a bit here, like to 50. And then just push this a bit more behind. But it could, that's actually not the move. I think we could even like do like 24. Yeah. Let's increase it to like 30-ish. 30 millimeters. I just want to hide those first like blanks there. And this would definitely be a bit different, the ropes, but I don't really know how I could make it better. Maybe by playing around with the angle here. Like, let's make this cubic. And then uniform, adaptive, and then play around with the angle. That doesn't really give good results. Linear either, or neither. B-spline seems to be the only one now that makes sense. Uh-oh, I need to save. I'm gonna crash this program soon. There we go. Crashed it. Good that I saved though. So now that I crashed, I think I need to restart. So save. And let's restart this program. So here, and then Cinema 4D back on. We have now been streaming for 1.5 hours. I think we have another like half an hour to go until I'm done. So I'm gonna show my Photoshop workflow still to the 6 people who are watching. And I guess then a lot of people who are interested will watch it afterwards, or at least tiny pieces of it, which is better than nothing. Let me now go back to the... I really love the Stream Deck. There's so many possibilities on this thing. I didn't even realize it. But I just, now that I'm planning on doing more lives, I thought it would be perfect to have it, so... Okay. So. Actually, at this point, I think the way to optimize this a bit better is to combine these with the logs. Yeah? This is not needed. But this cloner is for that and land. Okay, so if I combine these, let's group them and call this the bridge. If I turn this off, let me just double check. Okay, so I guess we need to find our logs. Where are our logs? Why are they still showing? I think I have them here. This is the landscape behind. What? Why aren't those turning off? Because of the object tag? No. So what I'm trying to figure out is like why when I turn a layer off, like why doesn't it turn off these, although it should? So let me try to figure this out quick. Oh. Well, this is definitely it. There we go. Okay, so I found the issue. If I now take all of these, let's duplicate this group. If I now take all of these and I turn this connect objects and delete, and I take this off from here, there's so many polygons on these things. I don't need that much geometry on them, but I guess it's a bit too late now. So I can now scale this to be a bit thinner. It doesn't have to be as wide as it was, so. And then I'm definitely going to use this pull tool to pull some of these logs to be a bit closer. I actually think it's a grab tool I need to use. Yeah. So sort of manually fix some of these. I guess that's the only way to do it now. Save at this point again. Let me actually select all of this. So now I have all of it selected, so I should be able to pull this whole thing like once. No, it still grabs like only one part from there. I guess that's because of the selections. Maybe if I remove those. Yeah, no, we need them. I don't really know what will be the best way at this point to change the shape. I guess the most important is just to change the shape of some of these, not like the whole thing. Problem has been detected, and well, no wonder. Does it now do it in between everything that I want to like achieve? What is going on? Maybe I'll go a few steps back. I'm just gonna close the program. Close. I don't want to save. Then turn it on again. I don't know what I did. I messed it up somehow. Yeah, the live is most likely lagging because yeah, the live is most likely lagging because of my internet. I'm sorry about that. Switch off the render window when you move around. Yeah, I guess that would help. I have a pretty fast computer, so I often don't need to do that, but I guess when I'm streaming it would be more beneficial, or at least like pause it when I'm moving around. Okay, so now let's manually fix some of these. It's not really like exactly like a bridge should be. I'm not too concerned about that. As long as it looks good, like somewhat good here in the beginning, that's what matters more to me. Yeah, that's true. I have 64 gigabytes. I was thinking of upgrading to 128 because I have the possibility to do that. I'm right now doing something that I could have fixed earlier already, like by optimizing some things better, but I don't know how I could have done it. So now I'm just problem solving it like this by manually making these ropes look slightly more natural. What time is it in India right now? I don't know the time difference because it's already it's 8 p.m. here in Germany. .11:30. It's quite a big time difference. Yeah, now the render views pausing seems to be also running way faster, so it's 1 a.m. here in Indonesia. Oh, true. That's true. 5-hour difference. I love Indonesia. It's such a beautiful country. I miss it. I haven't really explored a lot of the nearby islands. Like I've been in Komodo, I've been to Bali, I've been to Lombok, but there's so much more to see than sort of like those islands where every single person who goes to Indonesia goes to. So in the future, I definitely want to explore like a bit more areas where like not everyone has been. Also, the people in Indonesia are some of the nicest people I ever met in my life. Such like warm-hearted people. Okay, let's render this now. I wanted to put some rocks into the water. That's something that I wanted to still do. I really like how it looks now. It's quite Nordic, the view. I will fix some of the texture issues of this in Photoshop soon. You're going for 1K render or 4K? I'm gonna do 2K. I'm gonna pump this to 2160 to 700. It's probably gonna take like 5 to 7 minutes to render. So that's pretty good. I already have actually some rocks in the water. But what I would like to do, this is a cool way to do it. So I can create a plane. Let me create a plane here. And I can put this like 4000 by 4000, for example. That's big enough for this purpose. And I can put like not 200, maybe like 100 samples on this. And actually this doesn't have to be even that big. 2000 by 2000 should be good enough. And I can apply a texture to this. So the texture I'm going to use is this rock round from RD Textures. I'm going to duplicate it, apply this to the plane, and increase the tiling here to like 3 to 4. No, that's too much. 2, 3. Yeah, something like that. And then I can push this plane down. Ah, there we go. First time streaming problems, or like some of the first times. Yeah, so basically what I'm doing is I took a plane here and I applied a rock texture on it, and now I can push these rocks with the sculpting brushes up from here. So if I want to have some of these rocks visible, or like some areas with more rocks, I can do that by just grab with this pull brush when I make it editable. And what I also did here, I guess, without having the view on here, I made these edges a bit sharper. So these were like really sort of round. So I made those a bit more natural so the ropes don't look like they sort of go in like a weird wavy shape. So, yeah, so the rocks. Let's take the pull brush, increase the pressure on this. And now I can basically pull some rocks out. So I want some rocks there. And then when I update my render view, you should be able to see some rocks like popping up from there. It could be that I need to like actually pull a bit more, and then you can start to see it. Maybe some rocks there, some rocks here. This could actually turn to be like a bit too overkill look, I mean. So we'll see. But I do want some rocks around. So let's see how that will look if I now update the render view. Okay. So this is definitely too close. I don't want rocks there. I want rocks here instead. And maybe I also want, let me go to my camera view. Maybe I want like a bit of rocks here in the foreground. Like here. And same on the other side, like somewhere here I want to pull some rocks out. So now when I render this, yeah, if I put too many rocks it will look bad, but if I just put a few and just barely let them peek through, like I think that adds a bit more realism to it. Because if there wouldn't be any rocks, I feel like it would be missing some like surrounding elements. Either way, it's not like super realistic, this whole thing, but it's good enough for what I wanted from it. Okay, I think I'm gonna now... Should I still replace this texture? This texture is sort of ugly. It's this then. Do I have a wood texture for that? Could I just use this? No. I could use a log texture from here. I have some good ones. Or below the bridge, so it shows that they're standing or fixed in to give real effect. True. That is actually a really good idea. Thank you for that. Because I had it looks like it's floating now a bit too much, if you know what I mean. So like maybe adding a bit of rocks to some of these areas here would make it look... Actually can't do it from here. I need to go out of the view and then do it from like a top perspective. So a bit of rocks here, but of course not peeking through from the bridge itself. Just on the side. And again, let me pause this. Lagging too much. Streaming is actually quite heavy for my PC. I didn't think that it would be this heavy. It could also be my like streaming settings. I'm streaming with quite like good settings. And that could actually be the bottleneck of this stream right now. Because I'm basically doing it with too good settings. So I'm suffering a bit on the quality of the stream at times. So how does that look now? So definitely I don't want any rock showing like on the bridge itself. And here this is not even peeking through yet. Okay, that's enough. Let me see how it looks from here. Maybe even like closer, like here. Oh, the edge of my plane is there. I need to increase the size of my plane. So there. Now it's in the foreground, so that might give up a bit more of a realistic feeling. You mean the wood texture on the bridge here? Or the wood texture on the logs? Because the wood texture on the logs is definitely bad. But I don't really, like I tried so many different things on it, but I just wasn't able to make it look good. Like I tried this texture yesterday. What you can do is use Photoshop for logs texture so it gives it a real texture. Yeah, that's also an option. Where is this? I was thinking of using this for the barks or like the logs or maybe the rosewood. Where is this texture? Here. Like this texture I tried yesterday and I'm actually gonna try it now as well. And try to apply it to some of these. I think this could work, but the issue with this, in my opinion, was that it created a bit too like This is definitely a better texture. But I need to spin this on the Z axis, I guess. 90 degrees. Yeah. Hey, that's way better. I should probably just use these. Because the plank texture just does not look, it's not good. What if I tile this as well? If I do like one. But this can't be tiled. Yeah, I think this makes it, yeah. So we keep this at 1. And then this tiling we put to like 4. No, the other way around. So this at like 0.7 and this at 2. No, that's too repetitive. Okay, let's do that. Do you agree that this looks a bit better? I mean this texture, if I apply it to all of these. The thing is that I can create a bit of variety on these since I have 3. So here it was 0.7 and 2. Here I could have like 0.5 and 1.5 just to break it up a little bit. Angles really change the look of texture. You mean the camera angle or? Think this is better though, so far. And then this one could be, what did I put here? 0.5. So let's do 0.8 and then 1.8. Increase the bump or the displacement map. Yeah, the displacement. Do you know why the displacement map does not come to these textures from bridge automatically? I need to always do it separately. So like here, there's no displacement on it. And here, what I don't know about 3D yet is, do I increase the gamma of a map or the power of the map to increase the effect? So I've never really used this, so I'm not 100% sure. Or like, of course I've used bump maps, but what I mean is that I don't really know. Do I need to increase the power or the gamma? Yes, it looks better. Yeah, I think so too. But I'm gonna bring the displacement in here. So go to files. Let's bring the displacement in from, I think I did it at, where is the displacement? Here. Let me bring the displacement in here, then displacement node, texture, this is a 4K texture, so we'll make it 4K. Bump it to the displacement. Of course, we can't really do it a lot. Oh, one problem is that I didn't put it on the transform yet. There we go. Yes, here we can get like some better results now, but we can't really overdo it, or I can't overdo it. Just a little bit. Yes, the camera, because from the angle you were rendering, the focus on the bridge was not a lot. It was directly on the backside. That's true. You're right with that. But now with the bump, do I increase the power of it or the gamma of it? Like, I never really know which one to increase to get like better results. Hey, maybe I should add a bit of shine. Just a bit of shine. But I sort of want to have shine only on some parts like I did with the other texture. But I guess it's too late now. I will darken this a bit. Okay. So I'm going to delete this quick and duplicate this 2 times again. And then just apply it to these. There we go. Should I also maybe do a bit of variety in the color between these? I like a really, really tiny bit. That's too much. But yeah, like a very tiny bit of variation in color will probably make the overall look a bit more realistic. Roughness would work better to give it a real look. Again, do I increase the roughness from the power? Probably, yeah. That at least did something. I'll just finish this now and then I'll see soon how it looks. I'll create a bit of variation here first. Need to be really careful with these adjustments though, so it doesn't look. Okay, that looks so much better. So much better. Is the scene after golden hour with fog, so darker woods will look good. That's true. I also still want to change this. This one. I'm probably gonna make the bridge darker, to be honest, in Photoshop. I find that a bit more comfortable for me than adjusting the material separately. Also, one thing that would add an extra layer of realism here would be to create a bit of wet edges here on the material. But I think I know how to do it and it doesn't take like too much time. But I think in this case, it doesn't really like change too much. But I like the variety of the color here now. It's maybe a bit repetitive, but whatever. Let's now get the log texture. So I could could categorize this so much better. Go to surfaces, bark, and then I want to try the yeb bark or the mossy tree bark. Change the lighting of that area where the light is falling on the last logs. You mean... What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean with the change the lighting of that area. But what I'm gonna do is now just get the bark so I can finish this piece. This should be good. Let me apply this now to the, I guess it's this one. Hi.
Hi.
Look, do you like it?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I still need to adjust these. Because the lighting is coming from the top. The light is like quite in the horizon right now. It's coming from the right. So here, if I turn around, like that's how in the horizon the light is. By the way, light is falling on the back side of the logs. It shows some extra light is there. I think I increased the intensity of the light at some point. So let's see this texture now. I'm gonna tile it. And the displacement map is most likely there again, like missing. So let's go to cinema, node editor, on this, auto arrange. Again, it's saying that I'm not receiving enough stuff. This could be because Michelle just opened her computer. The stream is having some connectivity issues the whole time. Like the audio is like, so it's like half messed up, I mean. But I mean, yeah, it happens. Okay. No, this was 2K. And we don't want to displace it a lot. There we go. And then we need to just match the lighting of this texture. Yeah, the intensity is quite high right now. I'll probably bring it down a bit. Okay. This is a really tiny detail, but I probably should displace the rope as well. No. Should I displace the rope? You think it's the, you mean about the stuttering of the audio? Because I have selected the GPU as the codec or whatever you call it in OBS. Let me see. Yeah, I have the NVIDIA encoder. So it's... Would it be better while I'm editing in 3D to use the CPU for the stream? That could be actually an issue, I'm not sure. Yeah, it could be. Okay. Yeah, I'll check in next time then. Where is my daylight? Here. So the intensity is now like at 2. So I bring the intensity down and increase the power. I'm gonna lift the sun a little bit. I want slightly more light in there. Like that. Okay, let's see how it looks now. With bloom and everything. It's too much bloom, of course. And too much sky. Maybe I will zoom it in on the camera a little bit either way. Yeah. And then a bit behind, a bit less sky. And then also these wooden textures are too bright on the hut. I don't like them. I need to figure that out. So, this is the hut. Oh god, there's so many textures on this. I guess I'm just gonna add a color correction in here. I want to change the hue a little bit of this as well. Yeah, so I'm just gonna darken all of these a little bit. I guess I can just copy this color correction from here and then just place it in here to all of them. This is the roof. What am I doing now? What is happening? I tried to duplicate the color correction, but I guess I did something else. Angle looks great according to the rule of thirds. That's true. I don't really want to play around a lot with these hot textures. Like, they don't have any detail on them whatsoever, but I don't have the energy to change them now, and it's either way a bit like further away. Let's see how the hut looks now. Okay, it's a bit better. So I would call it done now myself. I can do the rest in Photoshop. So actually, there's this rock ground that I duplicated. I want to make this a bit darker and glow a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so the passes workflow, I'm gonna go here to passes, enable 32-bit EXR. I'm gonna put this to the stream. So stream project, where is it? Why I'm not seeing it there? And I will use the post. Then I will use the volume mask. I will use Dino's Beauty, diffuse direct, diffuse indirect. I'll take the volume, the reflection, emission, reflection indirect. I will also take some layer masks, but for that I need to apply some tags. Let me go here to the info passes. Z depth. Let's make sure that the Z depth is okay. Something like that. Ambient occlusion, I also always take the material ID. And what else do I usually take? Then I take the ambient light and the sunlight. Those are the passes I use. And is there anything else I usually take? I don't think so. But I do need some tags here. So I, for example, want a tag here. And this tag is going to be like layer ID 2. So I'm going to take the layer mask of this. And then I'm going to take the layer mask of the trees, I think, at least. Could be that the material ID does that as well, though. Yeah. Okay, I think that's good enough for these. A raw image is ready to go to Photoshop. That's true. Okay. I can color grade it completely then in Photoshop after. So now I'm just gonna render the layer mask of this bridge. So render layer mask ID2, and I'm gonna increase my samples just a tiny bit. I don't think I need more than like 500 samples for this, to be honest, because it looks to be clearing out quite well already at 350. And I will put 500 as the max samples, and then I will what am I trying to do? Output to 160. I usually use 2K nowadays for these. I think that's it. Let me double check still. I often also take the environment. I should probably take it now as well. Okay, let's see how long this thing will take to render. I could have optimized it better, to be honest, so it could be that it takes a bit longer, especially now that I'm streaming. Yeah, I mean, is there a way to see how long that will take? I always forget. It's actually so much slower when I'm streaming. But yeah, the image is now rendering, and I think, no, I'm not gonna end the stream while I render it. But yeah, 26 samples in 1 minute. Let me think. So this is gonna take probably like 10-ish minutes. Now is a great time to ask some questions if you have any. Did you check when the Eurovision starts? No.
Sorry. No.
So it's 8:30 now. I'm actually fasting today. I haven't eaten anything today and won't eat anything today. Hi, can you give me your opinion on a car video I made? Send me the video on Instagram. It's saying here that encoder is overwhelmed or something, that it's like I have too much sort of, how do you call it? Too much force on the computer or my GPU. I'm actually rendering something too right now. What are you rendering? So this has been now a 2-hour long stream. It says encoding overloaded. Consider turning down your video settings. Encoding overloaded, but this is, it didn't say this before, so this is probably now just because it's rendering. Encoding overloaded, that's what it's saying all the time. My CPU usage is at 0.3%. And it says my dropped frames are 286. 0.1% of the frames in the stream were dropped. Yeah, I'll probably try the CPU renderer or renderer. I don't even know how to say that word. But yeah, here in the settings, let me show you. So, basically, I'm now using the NVIDIA encoder. So probably next time I will change this to something else and see if the stream will work better. Because I do feel like the computer is quite overwhelmed with having to render and also like encode at the same time. Or like stream at the same time. So, and also I have 5,000 as the bit rate here. I'm not sure if that's too much for my internet. So we have soon rendered this project. Oh, I just noticed that the displacement on my logs is absolutely horrible. But what I might do is just edit it now in Photoshop to show, and then I'll fix it at some point. Because I'm definitely not going to post this anymore today. Let me see if there's any important messages here.
Mm.
480 samples done. Why don't you stream on Twitch? I guess it would be better for yourself too with the quality and other variables. I guess the reason why I'm not streaming on Twitch is because I sort of got this idea of doing these 3D streams like out of the blue, like just randomly. So I didn't like dive into Twitch at all. I guess it's not that much harder to start a stream there compared to YouTube, but yeah. Maybe I should try it out. I just like the fact that my YouTube channel gets a bit more active because of these. Like yesterday's stream had thousands of like viewers. Today way less, but that's understandable because the stream was such bad like quality in the beginning. So, and also of course when people start watching something from the beginning, the interest stays for longer. This was sort of now just jumping in between, or like immediately jumping into it, into the second part. Okay, so it's rendered now. I am going to close the picture viewer, save cinema. The real ones stay, exactly. I mean, either way, I'm not doing these streams to have as many viewers as possible. I just think it's interesting to share at the same time while I'm creating, and maybe try to also explain some things. Although I literally have like 2 months of experience in this program, so I can't really teach that well yet, but at least I can show what I'm doing. Okay, so now to the Photoshop part, which is my specialty, or more so my area. So the way how I do this is that I just grab my EXR to Photoshop, and this splits all the passes for me here. So it's reading the information, there we go. And at first I need to delete all of these stupid layers that I don't do anything with. I don't know why they even create these, but there we go. Let's delete those. So we first need our denoise beauty. Let's actually put everything that we don't need down. So we don't need the materials, we don't need the Z depth, we don't need the mask, we don't need the volume mask, environment we don't need, ambient occlusion stays on top, and I put this usually here like that, and then denoise beauty goes to the bottom. And then all of these, linear dodge add, also this one. Okay, so this is now the starting point. And yeah, I know this material looks horrible, but it is what it is. So then I just start adjusting. That doesn't do anything, but I mean, I guess it's... I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest, with this workflow. I just like play around with these settings and try to see what looks the best. Yeah, I always that. Sorry. So basically what I did, I just categorized these passes here. So I have all the passes that I don't need, the info passes on the bottom. Then I have my beauty pass here, and then all the different information on top of that. And right now this might look horrible, but I can fix it. I don't need post-processing that much, so I'm just going to mask this only to certain areas. And yeah, I really need to get better in these streams with scene switching. That's something that I've never had to pay attention to, so. Sunlight color I'm gonna change more towards blue. Hi Julius, this looks stunning. I think a small moon on the top would fill the top part a bit more. Maybe I will use my brushes for that actually, that's a good idea. Actually the ambient occlusion map, I don't do anything with it in this edit. I'll just let it be. Then the Z depth, I'm actually gonna use the Z depth a bit later, not now. the bridge mask. So the way how I bring masks here is that I put whatever it is on top, the mask. Then I go to channels, I hit Control, and then click on the RGB here, and that basically selects everything that's white. Then I create a layer, or whatever, in this case it's a curve. And then I put this mask down again, and now you can see that I have a mask on the curve, and I can only now adjust the curve, which is really handy in a lot of situations. And then here I can adjust some of these a bit further. But yeah, I need to change before I post this. I need to do this once again, the Photoshop workflow, and fix this texture. It looks so bad. I bought your first brush pack and I use it in every single one of my edits. Really useful. Thank you. I really like to hear that, because the brushes, especially the fog brushes, they come in like, they're super super useful afterwards. Like when I render something, then I can add fog afterwards really easily with the brushes. I will show you now. Let me try to see if there's something I can still do with these passes. Most likely not. I don't really know how to use these passes that well, as I said already. Yeah, so the volume I could decrease, especially here on the top right. I don't want this to be so wide there. Let me bring in the volume mask as well. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to find. Where do you search for ideas for your 3D projects? From ArtStation, Pinterest, but most of the time I just start creating something, and then that's sort of the way how I do it. The Z-depth I'm gonna do later, but the material ID I could use. No, I can't use that either now. So at this point when I've edited it, what I usually do is I come to the, I create a new thing first off, and I change the mode here to 8-bit, and I merge these layers. And then with this preview thing, I just try to see like how could I get the same result. I feel like this is a really stupid workflow, to be honest, but I found out that like this I can sort of prepare my edit better. So there we go, it's like sort of the same. So then I can hit OK, and I drag this into the main canvas, and then I Control Z it here, and then I drag all of these masks in here, and then I bring them on top. I know it's stupid, but I found out that that works the best for me, because in the 32-bit thing I can't really use all of the different things. For example, I can't use color range, which is ridiculous in like 32-bit. I can't really select anything. I can't really get as like nice results out of anything with the 32-bit. So I need to convert it to 8-bit and then bring it to another sort of canvas. What are these extra maps called? I always struggle in the Photoshop stage, so I think those would actually help me a lot. So these extra passes are basically like pieces of information that you can render out from Cinema 4D or from Octane, and you can adjust each of these things then separately and put layers in between here, And with these passes, you can also then like determine that if you want to select the trees, for example, and put something behind them. I don't really know enough about this yet to start explaining how they work and which passes you should take. I just sort of do it as like a random selection myself. So now, actually I need the Z depth. The Z depth I need to edit with the curves or with the levels. So usually the Z depth for some reason comes out completely white. So then I need to edit it again here in Photoshop. But that's pretty easy because I can just combine those, put it here. And with the Z depth I always add like a bit of depth into my scene. But do you use depth of field in your renders? Not, I haven't really used depth of field yet. I probably should. Okay, so now I have the environment I don't need. I don't know why I rendered that out. But I definitely need the background here. So let me select that. I'm soon done. Okay, so now I created that. I can turn this off and then let me deselect some of these areas. I don't need these. And I don't need anything from here. What I'm now trying to do is like make the background look a bit better. Because it looks pretty bad right now. Why isn't this working? Oh, there we go. Okay. With Control H, I can hide a selection. So the selection is still there, but it's just not visible. And now I can brush normally here. I mean, that looks pretty bad actually, because the selection is probably not. Maybe I'll just do it like this, because why not? Now I'm just like brushing a bit of fog here, hiding some of those ugly textures there. I'm brushing now a bit of light in here and a bit of fog. That's all I'm doing. And one tip in Photoshop, it's really easy to overdo effects, so always take your opacity down. Like I usually take it even more than 50% off. For this I don't now need to, but oftentimes I do. Then let's select these trees. Actually, the material ID is probably not the best way to approach selecting stuff. Just now realized it. But I mean, it works good enough for now. Let me invert this selection. Control Shift I inverts a selection, by the way. And then here I will go to my new fog brushes, and I love this one the most. And then now I can brush a bit of fog behind here. I guess I need to invert it again. Why isn't it inverting the selection? Let me try to think how I could do this. Do I really need to start exporting new elements? I'll do it like this. Okay, let's improvise. So, duplicate the Z depth, and then I will just create a selection here. Duplicate that. And then I will just crank the values in this. There we go. Now we have a mask. Probably not the best mask in the world, but at least we have a mask. And that's all I need. So now I can create a selection on the black areas. A little bit of a workaround, but if it works, it works. There we go. Now I can do Ctrl-Shift-I and I can start brushing fog in there. That was probably a bit confusing way to do it, but a lot of the ways that I sort of do are sometimes a bit like confusing. There we go. Now, finally. Hell yeah. So, wrong color. Still wrong. People who understand Photoshop probably thought that what I just did was cool. But yeah, it's always just about problem solving, finding the best way to not the best way, but sort of the quickest and easiest way to achieve something, either if it would be stupid. And that's exactly what I did there. Okay, so now we have a bit of fog. Now there's a lot of questions. I'll just quickly jump in here. I use Blender, I know it's had the same problem with selecting areas. Yeah, it's a bit hard. I don't know. I usually just render out layer masks of each object separately. I don't know why I didn't do it now. I should have done it. Will you upload this stream later? Yes, I will. So it's a bit odd, but I'll have a question about Instagram. I'm going to start my account later this year and I wonder, what do you think about mixing up landscape photos with 3D renders? Just do it. I'm doing it right now. It's the perfect way to do it. Like, would it mess up with my niche audience? No, I don't think so. It doesn't mess up anything. It might confuse people for sure, but I'm a very, very strong believer in the fact that people want to see the things that you like doing and like new things that you sort of take upon on. So if you start 3D, I think they will get used to it. Now I'm just adding fog again with my fog brushes. If you don't have my fog brushes, you can get them in the link. I think the link is in the bio of the stream. Now we'll give all of you a really useful tip. Just a second. So I brush a bunch of fog here. And I don't really like how it's visible everywhere. So I double click on the layer. And with this blend diff slider, I can take it off from some of the darker areas. And if I hold Alt or Option on Mac, I can separate these points. And then I can take it off from those darker areas while it still like looks quite good. So that's just one cool tip. I also don't like how my light is so yellow there. So I'm going to take a hue and saturation here. Control I inverts the mask to black. And then now with this I can change the color of the light. There we go. Now it's not so yellow. I think what I'm gonna also do here now is select some of these red planks. Yeah, some of these red planks, create a selection out of that, hide it, turn this off, and then turn my layer to overlay. And then with like a bright orange, I brush a bit of light into these. I'm actually going to do the same with almost all of them. Since the light is coming from the right, I thought that would just add a bit of something to it. So let me actually do it for these as well, because... Huh? Pixels are not selected? Ah, true, because I need to hide it first. Sorry that I'm going so fast, but I've been streaming for a long time now for my standards, so I'm sort of out of the explanation mode, if that makes sense. Didn't I now select? Ah, yeah, okay. There we go. And then I will add a curve, brighten things up, crank things down. And don't worry, it looks horrible now, but it will all make sense soon. So I'll brush a bit of this there and a bit here. Just to get a bit more of yellowish light there. And then I will... What else do I do? I usually add a luminosity filter. So I grab the lookup table, then I select candlelight, and I put the layer mode to luminosity. And then I take this effect off from the darker areas and a bit from the brighter areas as well. And this creates like nice, interesting, like sort of, it balances the image out quite a bit. I add a bit of that. We still don't see the screen. I'm so sorry. I should have, like, somehow have the screen in front of me constantly, that I could see what screen is there. Like, I have OBS open there, but I just forget it too often. Like, now I did so many things here. I added a bit of fog. So I did these effects. Let me delete that. So these are the effects that I now did. And the thing that I was doing with the dog, I just selected with the material ID here, all of these planks, and then added a bit of highlights there. Now I'm gonna add an overlay brush layer here and brush a bit of light. A bit less flow. And then I'm gonna brush a bit of darkening vignette here. As you can see, my workflow in Photoshop nowadays with this 3D artworks is like quite a lot of just like brushing. Because I feel like these pieces, they require so much more blending. And I like to blend with brushing. Like even here, I don't like how sort of orange this is from here. I'm just gonna brush a bit more, like darkening to this side of the bridge. And then just take the effect off a lot, just to have a bit of it there. started? Yeah? Okay. Okay. Last thing I'm gonna do now that I can't unfortunately fix completely is this. So these pillars, they completely failed. That was the only thing in my opinion that totally failed about this now. So I guess for these I'm just gonna fade them a lot. Sort of hide my mistake. And then I'm gonna brush this effect off from the bottoms of these things. And then I'm gonna fill these with color. And take it off from the highlights with the blend if slider. But I'm gonna keep it in the shadows a tiny bit, something like that. So with these now, I mean, still didn't fix the issue, but something like that. Then I'm just gonna, the Z depth, almost forgot. Let's do that. So, Z depth, the way how I do that is that I just create a mask. And then I decide on a color I want to use. Here I'm gonna brush a bit of okay. Let's combine all of these. And then camera filter. And I want to darken the sky a little bit. Also the left side a little bit. And then here I'm gonna add a bit of dehazing, increase the temperature. Like that. Add a bit of clarity here to the island. And add a bit of clarity here to the bridge. There's some things that I don't really like about this now, but I can fix them then when I finally post it. And then I do a bit of noise reduction, a bit of sharpening. And then let's try to figure out an interesting color scheme here. Let's go to the color grading. Let's make a bit of golden light from the right side. Shadows can be a bit more blue. And here the highlights are gonna be yellowish. And then I'm gonna add a bit of blue here, a bit of cyan here. I think the image is a bit too blue in general, so. And then one last thing is to make this area a bit more blue. And desaturate it a tiny bit. Okay. Um, It's also hard for me to right now see the color grading. Like I don't really see what I'm doing here because I have a huge softbox in front of me. So something like this. And then we wanted to add like a moon there. So let's do that still. Let's go to moons. Let's add it with my brushes. Make it smaller. It's gonna be in there. And let's take the opacity down. There we go. I think I'm also gonna mask it a bit in there because it's so foggy. I feel like in real life it would be probably masked in a bit. So I'm gonna do it like this. There we go. Now we have a moon in there. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep that, to be honest. I'm gonna add like one maybe layer of fog here still. Because why not? Trying to figure out a good color for the fog. So on this side a bit more orange, and then on this side a bit more blue. Desaturated blue. There we go. I'm pretty free with my fog. I don't really like stress too much if it goes somewhere where I don't want it to be. I'm more of a Bob Ross when it comes to that. Just brushing away. Okay, let's quickly compare the beauty. So this is where we started from. This is the render. And then this is now after Photoshop. So that's the difference for you. So quite a lot of work in Photoshop afterwards to get it somewhat interesting. And then I just save this as a PSD. So I go to the stream project. I name this PSD. Okay. And that's it. All right, we are done for this day. I'm just gonna change this to the chat for a while. This was a long stream, or not too long, almost 3 hours. Bunch of problems this time, so definitely have to figure those out for the future. And yeah, if there's any other recommendations you want for this to tell me for the stream, let me know. I only done 2 streams now with a bit more professional equipment, so naturally there's going to be a lot of issues. Next I'm going to try the CPU render encoding, and then also most likely, what else did I want to do? Yeah, decrease the bitrate maybe. But as you can see, I'm like getting really cloudy and super like tired here. So I'm probably gonna cut it pretty short here at the end now. So thank you so much for watching this stream. If someone who's watching this afterwards made it to this point after all the issues we had in this stream, congratulations. You deserve a cookie. Because this was a catastrophe in the beginning and along the way. But we got to the end, so that's the most important thing. So one more time, before, after, before, after. So a lot of the color grading, lighting and so on is then done at least I do it in Photoshop, because I know Photoshop really well and I can do it really quickly there. I'm probably gonna render this again with these pillars, and that's the only thing I'm gonna still do. Then I will post this to Instagram tomorrow. So thank you for watching, and I will see you hopefully in the next stream. Don't know when it is, because I'm gonna be very, very busy for the next few weeks. But I'll keep all of you updated on Instagram, on Twitter. So yeah, that's it. Thanks again, and I'll see you somewhere, sometime. And now I'm gonna use my Stream Deck to end the stream, because it wouldn't make any sense to buy this if I wouldn't use it. All right.